Okay, so this is Espeon. For some reason, it's my favorite Eevee evolution. It is the Psychic type Eevee evolution. Known as the Sun species, Sun Pokemon, along with Sunflora. Now, it has a synchronized ability, which I did mention when I was talking about Umbreon. Now, it is number 196 in the National Pokedex and 188 in the Johto Pokedex, and is part of the Ground A group. Now, a little bit about Espeon. Espeon and Glaceon have the same base special attack. However, Espeon has higher speed, while Glaceon is higher in defense. And then Espeon, interesting thing here, Espeon, even though it's not electric type, can learn Zap Cannon. However, it cannot learn weaker electric type moves. And then it says here it's in the early generations only, but I'm not sure about that. And then Espeon shares type and color similarities with the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. They are both purple colored psychic Pokemon whose shiny sprite is green. And we'll see that in a minute here. Name origin, ESP, or extrasensory perception, a branch of psychic abilities, of course, Eon suffix. Now, it appears to be based on the legend of Nikumata, or Bake Niku. They're mysterious two-tailed goblin cats. It can also resemble a carbuncle, or a Latin American mythological beast with a jewel on its forehead, forked tail, also related with the ability to see different forking paths of fate. It also bears some resemblance of Fennec fox, with thinly built face, foxes with small noses, narrow eyes, and large ears. Okay, so this is the similar sprite chart I keep showing you guys. So as you can see, if you've seen a picture of Mewtwo, you've probably heard of Mewtwo. But it's a legendary Pokemon from Generation 1, like Espeon, he's Psychic type, purple, and their shiny sprite is green. So it's a lot of similarities there. However, Mewtwo is way more powerful in terms of like speed and everything else. I don't really have a favorite sprite per se, but I think in general they all look really cool looking. I don't know, except for like Gold, Silver, and Crystal, it looks kind of creepy almost. Like, not really creepy, but it's kind of, yeah, creepy kind of. It kind of looks like Egyptian cat thing, and I don't know, it doesn't appeal to me at all. But however, the later generations kind of do. I kind of like the way in 3rd Generation 3 how the tail kind of hangs over his body, kind of. I think that's kind of cool. And then Espeon, again, I said it's my favorite one. I don't know why, it just is. So that covers Espeon. Alright, so this is Leafeon. It's the grass type evolution of Eevee. And I think design-wise, I think it looks pretty cool. So it has the Leaf Guard ability, which does, let's see, prevent status problems in sunny weather. It's very similar to Safeguard, but, you know, so that's pretty neat. And it's also known as the Verdant Pokemon. And then National Pokedex, it is number 470, and then in the Shinu Dex, it is number 169. You might have wondered why there was such a big number skip between the Espeon and this one. It's because there are no Eevee evolutions in Generation 3. Or from Generation 3, I should say. And then it is also part of the Ground A group. A little bit about Leafeon here, not a whole lot. Again, it is tied with Umbreon and Vaporeon for the tallest Eevee evolution. And then Leafeon is one of 2 pure grass types that are to be based off a mammalian creature. The other, of course, is Shaymian. According to Diamond Pearl Pokedex, Leafeon and Glaceon have identical footprints. And we'll talk about Glaceon in a minute. And then, as as a platinum, Leafeon is the only grass type to learn is the only grass type Pokemon to learn Sword Dance by leveling up. And then Leafeon has the highest defense of all grass type Pokemon. And then Origin, like most evolutions, has fox, dog, cat traits, and also resembles plants, which could utilize photosynthesis and closely resembles a phoenix fox due to small paws and very large ears. Name origin is derived from leaf, of course, and then eon, so it's pretty self-explanatory. So this is a chart of his sprites. Obviously, he was introduced in Generation 4, so there's not a lot exactly to explain. He looks pretty, pretty simple. I like the stance, the leaf and everything. And then it's shiny. It looks like they took the original one and then made a sun right above it. Just made it brighter. Leafeon's not my favorite EV evolution, but, it's certainly noteworthy. Alright, so this is the final evolution of Eevee. This is the Ice-type Pokemon, Glaceon. Now it is known as the Fresh Snow Pokemon, and has the ability called Snow Cloak, which raises its evasiveness by 20% in a hailstorm. And then, nationally, it is number 471 in this National Pokedex, and of course in the Shinu, it is number 170. And of course it is part of the ground A group. And then, so a little bit of trivia here. Glaceon's Japanese name is the same as the English name of a member of the Hoenn Elite Four, Glacia. If you remember her, she was the Ice-type trainer in Generation 3 in the Elite Four. Let's see here. Glaceon has the highest special attack stat of any Ice-type Pokemon. It's also one of the only 4 pure Ice-type Pokemon. The others are Snorunt, Galeet, and Regice. And then, Glaceon is the only pure Ice-type Pokemon not introduced in Generation 3. And then, according to, so in the Diamond and Pearl Pokedex, Glaceon and Leafeon have identical footprints. I believe I already mentioned that. Origin, Glaceon is based on the Arctic fox. That's basically it. I do believe it's also a resemblance of like a cat in some ways. You can see his legs are not exactly wolfish or like fox. Well, I guess it is fox. Fox, cattish. All the EV evolutions are. So it's based off Arctic fox. Name probably comes from French word glace, meaning ice, or from glacier, which is a slow-moving mass of ice. And of course, we have the eon suffix. Alright, so this is a chart of sprites. Obviously, it doesn't appear in Generations 1, 2, and 3. So there's not a whole lot of sprites to choose my favorite from. So I don't have one. We'll have to wait till later to see how I manipulate the sprites and everything. So I think Glaceon was an excellent addition to the Eevee evolution family. And then my comments about Leafeon's shiny apply to here also. And that covers up Glaceon. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, rate it. Rate it good, hopefully. Recommend me to any of your friends. And again, if you saw my update, make sure to go watch that. Go to my Flickr account to find the wallpapers for this week. I'll have the link in the description. Email me your suggestions. It doesn't have to just be Pokemon. Tag combos, anything. It's just an example, like type specifications, strategies, anything. My email being the sidebar, you can send me your suggestions. And then, so next week, I hope to have another video up, hopefully sooner than Sunday, Monday, sorry, I kind of procrastinated a little bit this week. So, thanks guys, I really appreciate it so much. So, I'll see you next week. Bye.